Hey everybody, this is Bonnie, and today I want to show you how to make Bonnie's Starburst throw. I had a lot of fun working with these colors, but as I show you what we're going to be using for this throw, keep in mind that you can also draw from your stash yarn and leftovers and make it completely yours. It really works well when you change colors after every 2 rows, and it does feature a matching trim, and I'll show you all about how to do that. So let's go ahead and grab our hooks, grab our yarn, and let me show you what we're going to do. For this project, I'm going to be using paint box yarns and these hues. Let me go ahead and tell you right off, this is color number 1, color number 2, color number 3, and color number 4 in my particular yarn setup. If you want to use other colors, other hues, feel free. But just to let you know, this is an Aran or a worsted or a number 4 weight yarn. And if you do use paint box yarns, I do have a link in the video description where you can acquire these. Each of these balls of yarn has 184 meters or 201 yards. This is 100% acrylic, 3.5 ounces. And again, you see the number 4 indicator there for this particular yarn. And I'm also recommending that you have a size J or 10 or 6.00 millimeter crochet hook. And as always, I recommend that you have a yarn needle and a pair of sharp scissors handy. To begin, we're going to start with the darkest colors of the purple hues, and we're going to call this color number 1. And we're going to start with a slip knot and the starting chain of 153 chains. Now let me pause a minute and explain about the width of this throw. I am going to be crocheting this to be approximately 45 to 50 inches wide. I don't have the final dimensions until I complete the trim or the outer perimeter rounds. So this is going to be approximately 45 inches across before those are added. And that's where I get the 153 chains. If you want to make this smaller, you simply subtract multiples of 8 from that number, or you can add multiples of 8 to this number to make it wider than 45 or 50 inches. Another way you can find this starting chain that will suit your personal needs is take any multiple of 8 and add 1 additional chain to it for the turning chain, and you should be fine. This is one of the more simpler multiples, so I'm able to give you that information up front. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my starting chain of 153 chains. To begin row 1, we're going to skip the first 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the 5th chain, we're going to work 9 double crochets, all in that same space. Okay, so now we have a total of 9 double crochets. I did work them kind of quickly. I'm assuming that you know how to work the basic stitches. If you need some stitch review, I do have a video listing in the video description that you can check out if you need to bone up on some of the beginner basic stitches. So let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we're going to skip the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, if you can see that, and a single crochet in that next stitch. So it's 9 double crochets in that 1 chain, skip 3, and a single crochet in that next stitch. After that, this is going to be our repeat across the row. Skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in the next stitch, work 9 double crochets again. So I'll go ahead and work these 9 stitches off camera. So after having worked those 9 stitches, again, we're going to skip the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet in that next chain. And that's what we're going to work all the way across the row. And I will show you how the row ends. I'll work this with you one more time. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3 chains. And then in that next chain, or the 4th chain, we're going to work 9 double crochets. So go ahead and work that all the way across. So after working that all the way across, you should have 4 chains left. We skip the next 3 chains and we work a single crochet in that last stitch. But before completing that single crochet, we're going to bring in the next color number 2, and pull that through to complete the stitch. Before you go any further, you may want to just take a minute and just loosely tie these together, and we'll deal with these at the end of the project. So you can either slip knot them together or just tie them gently, and we'll deal with that again at some point. So after pulling that new color through, we're going to turn to go to row 2. We're going to start with a chain 3. We're going to skip the single crochet and we're going to double crochet 4 stitches together, and I'll show you how to do this. It's not that difficult at all. Okay, so we're skipping that single crochet and we've wrapped our hook to complete a double crochet, but we complete it only to this point. I'll do that again. We wrap the hook, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So now we have 2 of those. Do it again. Wrap, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to do that one more time. Wrap, stick that hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on that hook, yarn over, and pull through all 5 loops on the hook. Okay, so after we do that, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the next double crochet, we're going to work a single crochet. Just like that. And after we do that, we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to double crochet 9 stitches together, and I'll work this with you. And it's the same thing that we just did here. It's just that we're going to do 9 repeats. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth one is going to be in that single crochet. 6, 7, 8, and 9. So let's see, we should have a total of 10 loops on our hook. After we've done that, yarn over, and make sure you have a nice hook, and if you're having trouble, turn the nose of the hook down as you pull through all 10 loops on the hook. And then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to do it all over again. So this is going to be the repeat. Chain 4, single crochet in that next stitch. That stitch should be the 5th double crochet of the cluster from the last row. Chain 3, and then work 9 stitches together, 9 double crochets together. And I'm going to work this a little bit quickly. And again, the 5th of this group should be worked in that single crochet. And then this is number 9. And you can verify that you have 10 loops on the hook, yarn over, point the nose of that hook downwards so that you can get them through all 10 loops
on the hook, chain 4. Okay, so let me make one more clarification. After you do the 9 stitches together, you chain 4. After you work the single crochet in that top stitch or the 5th stitch of the cluster, then you only chain 3 before you work the 9 stitches together. Okay, so go ahead and work this all the way across. One thing that I should have also mentioned is after you've joined the color number 2, go ahead and you can cut color number 1 so that you can have that ball free. We come to the end of row 2. We're going to chain 3, and then we're going to crochet 5 double crochets together in the last 4 stitches and in the chain 1 space or the chain space. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one more in the turning chain space. Yarn over and pull through all 6 loops on the hook. And let's pause and take a look at what we have. All right, now it's on to row 3, and we're going to use the same color. We're going to maintain the same color of yarn, and from now on we're going to work 2 rows of the same color before switching. Okay, now we're going to chain 4. This is row 3. Chain 4, and we're going to work 4 double crochets in the same chain space here that was formed. So let's go ahead and do 4 of those. Okay, after doing that, we're going to skip the chain 3 right here, and we're going to work a single crochet in that next single crochet. We're going to skip the next chain 3, and in the same space where the cluster was brought together into that chain 1 space, we're going to work 9 double crochets. That's 5. Having trouble with that number 6. Eight and 9. Since I stopped a little bit, I'm going to double check that number to make sure we have the right number, and we do. And again, skip that chain 3 space, and we're going to single crochet in that next single crochet. So that's going to be the repeat all the way across. After we work that single crochet in that single crochet, skip the chain 3 and work 9 double crochets. I'll go ahead and do that again for you. 9 double crochets in the next stitch, which is the same place where the other stitches were worked. And one more, I believe. And just for the record, I am going to stop to double check. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And again, skip the next chain 3 and single crochet in that next space. So you can see the beautiful starburst that are being formed as we work this. So go ahead and work that all the way across the row. Okay, one correction. Sometimes you're going to be skipping a chain 4, sometimes a chain 3, but just basically you're going to be skipping the group of chains as you go across there. I just wanted to be crystal clear on that because I know somebody's going to say, oh, it's a chain 4. Well, it's either a chain 3 or a chain 4, but you will be skipping those as you work across. Row 3 ends by skipping that last chain sequence and we're going to work 5 double crochets into that chain 1 space. Just like that. So now we're going to change colors again, and I'm going to back that last stitch out, the top of that double crochet, and we're going to add in color number 3, which I'm using the cream color for that. Go ahead and pull that on through, and just like we did before, go ahead and take a second, and I want you to tie these loose ends together. So after we pull that thread together, let's go ahead and clip a generous strand. Don't be skimpy on the strands that you leave. Leave at least a 4-inch to 5-inch strand. This will make weaving in these ends much simpler. And again, don't tie the knots too tightly because we can weave each of these colors in separately. You just want to be able to take out the knots and weave them in very carefully, one color at a time, once we get to that point in finishing. So now to begin row 4, we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to go right in to crocheting those 9 double crochets together. Okay, we're going to skip that first stitch, but the next 4 we will use 1. And this is making the yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 for those double crochet 9 stitches together, 9 double crochets together. Okay, we should have a total of 10 loops on the hook. Let's make sure we do that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yarn over and pull through all 10 loops on the hook. Chain 4 and single crochet in that next stitch. Chain 3, and then we do it all over again with the crocheting 9 double crochets together. I'll do that for you again. So this should look fairly familiar at this point. Remember that 5th one will be in the single crochet of the previous round. And that's number 9. Yarn over, pull through all 10 loops on the hook, and then we chain 4 and single crochet in that next space. So remember, following that, bringing all those 9 stitches together, you chain 4, and then after working the single crochet in that next stitch, we chain 3, and then go back to the 9 double crochets together. So go ahead and work this across the row. Again. Okay, so as we near the end of row 4, go ahead and work that last chain 4, and then we're going to work a single crochet in that turning chain right there. Let's go ahead and turn. Let's take a look at what we have after working 4 rows. You can just see how stunning this is going to be with the colors in this. Now to start row number 5, go ahead and work a chain 1, and then we're going to skip that first single crochet, add in, and we also are going to skip this chain, and we're going to work in that center chain 1 space, and we're going to work 9 double crochets. So after completing 9 double crochets in that same chain 1 space where the other 9 double crochets were crocheted together, skip the next chain, single crochet in the next space. And that's going to be your repeat across the row. After that single crochet, we work those 9 double crochets in that chain 1 space. Okay, so I'm going to finish working these 9 double crochets, and then going forward, again, we skip the chain 3 or chain 4, and single crochet in the next space, and again, skip the chains, and then work another 9 double crochet. So work that all the way across the row. After working this all the way across the row, we're going to end by working a single crochet in that first of the chain 4 from the last row. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have after completing 4 rows. Okay, now for going onward, we are going to repeat rows 2 through 5 to continue the pattern. But before I do row 6, which is going to be a repeat of row 2, I need to switch out to my color number 4. And let's go ahead and take the time again to trim those loose ends and loosely tie them together. So you will be changing colors after every 2 rows, but make sure that you work 2 rows of each color. And as I explained before, I started out with color 1, then 2, then 3, and then color 4 is just a slightly lighter shade than color 2. So you can, work those colors any way you wish. You can do them in order, or you can do them randomly. And you can even make this into a temperature blanket for those of you who enjoy, kind of random projects. Another idea is this could be a fun project for a stash buster, where you can use up all that number 4 weight yarn, or really any weight yarn in your stash, and make it into a lovely blanket. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start you back on a repeat of row number 2. And in my case, this is going to be row 6. We're going to chain 3. We're going to skip the first double crochet. And this is where we crochet 4 double crochets together. Just like that. And then we get back to our chain 4, single crochet in that next space, and then of course chain 3, and then we're back to crocheting 9 double crochets together. I believe that's number 9. Yarn over through all 10 loops, chain 4, and then we're back to our repeat again, single crochet, and then we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to crochet 9 stitches together. Okay, so going forward, as I said before, we're going to repeat rows 2 through 5. I'll put a little mark across the bottom of the screen that'll have the time mark of where row 2 begins. So if you need additional stitch support, you can watch that over and over. And I'll give you some progress updates as this video progresses. And I will show you the finished design at the end. So I will give updates as this video goes forward. And once I find the length that I desire, which will be in approximately 55 inches or so, I will show you what I have, and then we will work a perimeter round and put a nice edging on this beautiful blanket. Okay, I've come to the point in my pattern where I have repeated these 4 colors, this 4 color pattern, an additional 10 times, and then I worked 1 more row to make the sides even. So now I'm going to get ready to work the edging. Now do feel free to make this as large or as small as you wish. If you want this to be longer, this is just over 50 inches. It's going to be longer and slightly wider once I complete the rounds for the final trim. But if you want this longer than 50 inches or so, go ahead and add additional repeats. That's all you need to do. So now we're going to start the first perimeter round. I'm going to chain 1 so that I can work along the edging here. And I'm going to work 2 single crochets in that double crochet, which was on the end stitch here. I'm going to work 2 single crochets in the circular part, which is where the center of the hole is here. And then I'm going to work 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And then we're going to work 2 single crochets in the next space. That's where the other color comes in. Okay, so we're going to repeat that all along the side. 2 single crochets along that first double crochet, and 2 single crochets in that next space, and then 2 single crochets over that double crochet, and then 2 more single crochets in the next space. I'm going to go ahead, actually I'm going to split that, put 1 here and 1 here. You can do this however you wish so that you get an even stitching along the edge. So go ahead and work that down the side, and I'll show you how to work across the bottom, which would be the original foundation chain. After working those single crochets along the edge, we're going to turn 90 degrees. Go ahead and give it a chain 2 and single crochet in the same space as the last place where you work that last single crochet. That's going to form a chain 2 corner. Now working across, this is the foundation chain that we first crocheted when we started. We're going to work 2 single crochets over that first chain section, 2 single crochets in that next space where the circle opening is, formed by all of those double crochets crocheted into that one chain a while back, and then 2 single crochets in the next space, and then opposite that 1 single crochet, work 1 single crochet in that chain space. Let me do that for you again as you work across this bottom foundation chain. 2 single crochets in that next chain space, 2 in that single space where all those stitches were stitched, and then 2 over that next chain space, and then 1 opposite the single crochet that was crocheted many rows ago. So go ahead and work that across the bottom. So go ahead and work this to the next corner, and I'll show you how to proceed from there. Now as we come to the next corner, we have a lot of work to do dealing with the color changes. So the first thing I'm going to do is, as I go to each color change where the strands were gently connected, I'm going to untie them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide each of these very carefully within the work. And if you kind of try to do what I'm going to show you here, they're going to be hidden for a long, long time. Okay, so here's the first color change, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. Let's go ahead and take a look at how it was connected. Okay, so I'm going to connect this in to the top of that chain. I'm going to weave it down into the double crochets, and I'm going to come around in a circle, and I'm going to hide this under all of the strands. I'm actually going to come around in a circle. I'm going to come under these two. It's important that you try to hide these under the yarn that is of the same color. And then I'm going to come around again. Okay, and continue to hide that. That should be pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that. And that strand is hidden forever. So I do have another one to hide here. And then I have this other one as well. Of course, there are 2 of these to hide for every time we change the colors. And plus additional ones for when we had to change our yarn. So I'm going to go ahead and weave this down into the chain. And I promise you that you're not going to see these again because we're going to be crocheting over these with a perimeter round in just a bit. But do be sure that you hide these as much as you possibly can. That's why I'm kind of going the added mile here, just to show you how I'm going to run these around, because there are a bunch of stitches here. And I'm going to do that again. I'm going to run this under everything again twice. So that way these are not gonna, you're not gonna have to worry about these popping out or, you know, being a problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And give it a little tug back. Okay, so that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and give this a trim. Again, close, but not so close that you cut your stitches. So that, and pull back on that a little bit, that is hidden quite well. So you see how these are hidden, and let me show you another section where I hid them under the work. You don't have any clue that there were strands there, extra strings hanging out there. So go ahead and untie all of these little knots. I hesitate to use the word knot, but go ahead and untie these and hide these strands one at a time under the common color. After working this all the way across that foundation side, we're going to work a single crochet in that last stitch, chain 2, and work another single crochet in that same space so that we formed yet another corner. So after we form the corner, we're going to be working down the row ends again, and just like the last time when we work over this half of the starburst and the little bit of the next one, which is the pattern all the way across, we're going to work a total of 8 stitches. So I'm going to do this a little bit differently because this end has the chain 4, which is a little spacier. So let me go ahead and show you what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you work 3 single crochets over that chain, 1 in the center circle, and then 2 single crochets over that next row end. And then when you come to the color change, go ahead and work 2 stitches over there. So let's back up and take a look at that. So once we get past the corner, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches, and they're a little more evenly spaced this way. Let me work that with you again. So we're going to work 3 stitches here, 1 in the center of the circle, 2, and it might be a little stiffer because we have hidden a lot of those strands into this section. So 2 there, and then 2 where the color change occurs. So again, we've worked 8 stitches from here to here. We have worked 8 stitches evenly. So go ahead and work that all the way until you get to the next corner. After working this all the way across, of course, the last section here, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. And then now we're going to work the corner stitch by working a single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet in that same space. Now working across, we're going to work an additional 2 stitches over this section of the starburst, 2 more stitches in the center, and then 2 more over the chain, and then 1 in that single crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and work this for you again. 2 stitches over the chain, 2 stitches in that next hole, 2 stitches over the next chain, and then 1 in that single crochet. So over each of these starburst sections, you should have 7 stitches worked evenly, and that's going to match what we did on the other end. So go ahead and work that all the way around, or I'm sorry, all the way across the row, and then I'll show you the join at the end. After working that across the last side, let's go ahead and add a corner with an additional single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to that very first single crochet of the round. So it should end like this. All right, let me give you some stitch counts for this perimeter round. Along each short side of the throw, and this stitch count is going to include the single crochet here and on the other corner of the chain 2 corners, you should have 134 stitches. That's on both of the short ends. That's the top and the bottom. Along the sides, and this again is including the single crochet in the chain 2 corners on both ends, you should have 176 stitches across each of the long sides. Now, if you are off by 1 or 2 stitches, quite honestly, that is not a deal breaker. The important thing as you crochet this perimeter round is that it's not too tight and it's not too loose or wavy. It should be evenly crocheted. Now, if you need to change your hook to a larger or a smaller size in order to get that, feel free to do that. But it's very important that you have at least an equal number of stitches on both each of the sides and the top and the bottom so that the blanket will lie square. Okay, now for round 2 of the perimeter round. Now remember, I joined right here and there is a chain 2 corner. Now, if you are afraid you may not be able to see that chain 2 corner, let me show you what you can do. If you feel like you are going to lose track of where these chain 2 corners are, you can put a stitch marker in each of those 4 chain 2 corners. This is just an optional thing. So when you get to these chain 2 corners, as we work the next perimeter round, we're going to work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the chain 2 spaces. So other than that, I'll go ahead and get you started because many of these rounds are going to look just like this. Go ahead and chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in the same place that we joined, and in each single crochet all the way around. Of course, the exception is when you come to the chain 2 corners, work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So go ahead and work round 2 using the color number 1. After working this all the way around, we come to the chain 2 corner, and let's go ahead and make our single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. We can go ahead and remove this, and if we want to put it in the next chain 2 corner, that would be good. It's kind of nice. It signifies the end of the round. So after that chain 2 corner, we're going to go ahead and join with the slip stitch. Let's go ahead and fasten off this color. Make sure you leave a nice generous strand so it'll be easy to hide into the work. Okay, so now we're going to rejoin with the next color. I'm going to use color number 2, which is kind of the darker medium color purple. Let's go ahead and work a slip knot. Okay, let's go ahead and pull that up. Okay, I'm going to join with the chain up with that slip knot, and I'm going to go ahead and work a chain 2 corner. Single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet in that chain space. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on with the single crochet in each stitch all the way around. And then I will rejoin with a slip stitch. And I'll show you the join at the end of this round because we're going to work this next color for 2 complete rounds. So at the end of round 3 of the perimeter round, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that chain 2 corner where we joined, and go ahead and make a slip stitch into the chain 2 corner, chain 1, and go ahead and make that corner with the single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet. And now we're going to make another round working a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. And when you get to the chain 2 corners, again, work that single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. And just like the last round, we're going to add an additional 8 stitches to the entire perimeter round, which is, 2 additional stitches on each side as you work this. So go ahead and work this in the same color, and I'll show you how to join, and we will work something different for the following perimeter round. Now we're going to begin the round with the puff stitches. Let's go ahead, and we're using the lighter color, or the white, off-white yarn, color number 3. And go ahead and start with a chain after I've made that slip knot. Make that 2 chains, and go ahead and work a half double crochet. This chain 2 counts as a half double crochet for the record. Chain 2, and we're going to work 2 more half double crochets in that chain 2 space. So after that half double crochet corner, we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the first stitch, and we're going to work yarn over, insert into the next stitch, pull up a loop. We're going to do that 3 times. That's 2, and that's 3, yarn over, and we're going to pull through all 7 loops on the hook and give it a chain. Skip the next space. In the next stitch, we're going to work another puff stitch, pull all the loops through, and give it a chain. We're going to work this all the way to the next corner. Okay, I'll do one more for you. Again, skipping a stitch in between. And give it a chain. So go ahead and work that until you get to the next corner. After working this across, skip that next stitch, and we're going to work 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more half double crochets in that chain 2 corner. And then we're going to continue chain 1, skip that first stitch, and then we begin the puff stitches again. So go ahead and work that all the way around the perimeter. After working this all the way around, just as a note, you may need to work in the last stitch on each side or the stitch before the last. It really doesn't matter. And then we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 2, just like so. Going to go ahead and give it a chain and a tug and cut the yarn so we can join yet another color. Also keep in mind, we're not turning at the end of each round. We're keeping the front side facing. So now we're ready to bring in color number 4, which is the lighter of the lavender purple colors. Go ahead and make our slip knot. Gonna join with a chain. Now we're back to single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet for the corner. The 2 half doubles was only for the puff stitch round. Okay, so now we're going to be working in each stitch. So go ahead and don't forget that very first stitch of the round. Sometimes that corner can hide it. 1 in each of those half double crochets. Then we're going to work a single crochet in the chain space in between the puff stitch and a single crochet in the top of that puff stitch. And we're going to work that all the way around. And again, when you come to the corners, make sure you work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in those corners. Otherwise, a single crochet in each chain that's between the puff stitches and a single crochet in the top of those puff stitches. So go ahead and work that all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and give you the assignment for the last 3 rounds. Once you complete this, we're going to join with a slip stitch, and just like we did 2 rows earlier, you're going to slip stitch to the chain 2 corner, work the chain 2 corner, and then another round in the same color. After you're finished with that, go ahead and cut the yarn, and then we're going to work 2 additional rounds using the dark purple, and that is how we will end this particular project. So go ahead and finish round number 6, follow that by 7, and then 8 and 9 will be in the dark purple.
Well, hope you enjoyed making Bonnie's Starburst throw with me today. If you did, as always, I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to comment in the comment section below. God bless. Bye-bye.